Hello and welcome to Econ with Wes. In this video, I will be explaining shifts of the demand curve and also the factors that may cause a shift in demand. So this video, we are going to look at shifts of the demand curve, okay? And then the factors which may cause a shift of the demand curve. Let's just go straight to the diagram here to show how we can illustrate an increase or a decrease in demand, okay? Now, if there is an increase in demand for whatever reason, and we will look at the possible reasons shortly, then the demand curve will shift to the right-hand side from D to D1, okay? This is an outward shift. Now, if there was a decrease in demand, then the demand curve will shift inwards to the left, okay, from D to D1, okay? So if there is an increase in demand, the demand curve will shift to the right-hand side, an outward shift, but a decrease in demand will cause an inward shift to the left-hand side. Now, let's just clarify here that a change in price of the product causes a movement along the demand curve, and not a shift of the demand curve, okay? So let's have a look at what is known as the determinants of demand, the factors which may cause a shift of the demand curve. Now, just to clarify, one of the determinants is not a change in price, because a change in price of the product will cause a movement along the demand curve and not a shift of the demand curve. Okay, so don't get confused with that concept. Okay, so let's have a look at the determinants of demand. Okay, so the first one is a change in the amount of money firms spend on advertising. Okay, so if they spend more money on advertising, then that will lead to an increase in demand. Okay, the idea is that if the firm spends more money on advertising, then consumers will become more aware that the product exists, and the advertising may try to persuade consumers to buy the product. So therefore, more consumers will be willing and able to buy the product. So therefore, demand will increase as a result. But if the firm spends less money on advertising, then in theory, not as many people, not as many households and consumers are going to be aware that the product exists. So the demand will fall. And that would on the diagram, we will show a decrease in demand by an inward shift to the left-hand side. Changes in disposable income. If households have more disposable income, then they've got more money. They've got more money at their disposal. So therefore, they're going to be more willing and able to buy products. Okay. So again, if they have more disposable income, then the demand will increase. But if they have less disposable income, then the demand will fall. They're going to be less willing and able to buy products if they have less disposable income. So for an example, if the government decides to increase income tax, then as a result of that, households will have less disposable income because they'll be paying the government more in taxation. Therefore, they have less money, less disposable income, so they're going to be less willing and able to demand products. So demand will fall, and that would be a shift to the left-hand side. Also, changes in fashions and tastes. Okay, so at the moment, paddle, the sport of paddle, the racket sport, is becoming really popular in the UK. It's really growing. So therefore, the demand for playing paddle, for paddle court hire, for paddle rackets, paddle balls, etc., has increased as a result. Demographic changes is another possible cause of a change in demand, a shift in demand. If the population increases because a country, an economy has more people migrating into the economy, then you've got a higher population. Therefore, the demand for products will increase as a result. So the demand curve will shift to the right-hand side. It could be that you have many countries now have an aging population, that the number of 80-year-olds has increased in many developed economies in particular. So therefore, if we've got people living longer, a higher population of people above the age of 80, then the demand for products such as healthcare, is, such as chair lifts, etc., such as any products that's aimed at people above the age of 80. As a result of that, the demand for these products is going to increase because there are more people living longer as a result. Another demographic change is the fact that families are having less children. The number of children per household is decreasing in many countries around the world. So then the demand for baby products, for prams, pushchairs, baby clothes, children's books are going to decrease as a result. The last two, a change in the price of a substitute good and a change in the price of a complementary good, we will be discussing and looking at in a future video. I hope you found that video useful. I hope you now have a really good understanding of all the different factors that could cause a shift of the demand curve, that can cause a shift in demand. Please like and subscribe to this channel. Look out for future videos, and thank you very much for watching.